If you turn your attention to the monitor, you will see that our subjects are waiting for the experiment to begin, but it's actually happening right now.
Hello, what's up guys? It is Keegan here, and today I am bringing you week 2 of the NCP. We are 1-0 currently after beating Aimel 4-0 last week, and we are coming up against Tony this week looking to start the season 2-0. Now, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you haven't, make sure you keep up with all of the videos coming out for the regular season, and then hopefully the playoffs. We start off well on the goal for the playoffs. Let's see if we can make it. And let's see if we can go to 2-0 this week, which will put us in a good position going into the rest of the season. Now, the game against Tony is going to be an interesting one. I'm going to be looking off screen here a little bit to look at the team. The team is on screen now that Tony's going to bring. And it's a really, really interesting team. So we're back into the weeks with real Pokemon that we have to prepare for every week. And he's got a lot of interesting threats. Stuff like Necrozma is going to be the biggest one here. We don't have a Dark type, which means that Tony can basically bring an insane setup set with only Psychic Staff, and likely will have pretty decent success if we're not prepared for it. Weavile being the fastest Pokemon in the matchup, a lot of things are going to be dictated by that, but Weavile doesn't have realistically that good of a matchup against my team. Stuff like Throw and Diancie there do prevent Weavile from really taking advantage of being that fastest Pokemon in the matchup. Other threatening Pokemon, Rotom on first look in this matchup. Rotom Volt switching into the Necrozma, which is going to be a very, very big problem for this team. There's not really a lot I can do with it. You'll see I do find a way to get around that though. And then other things, let's take a look. Stuff like Gastrodon's going to do a really, really good job of absorbing stuff like the Cinderace, but you know, it potentially could be weakened down by other threats. So a lot of interesting things in this matchup, specifically to take a look for. The Cross was going to be that biggest threat that we really need to be prepared for. And it's one of those things, if you take a look at the team, while my team is a very momentum-based team, a lot of the threats from my opponent's team that I would want to gain momentum on, I do have natural checks for. As I said, Weavile, the Diancie's a really, really good check to that. The Nihilego, you can switch into stuff like Throw, can come in, take a few hits. There's ways to play around basically every threat that my opponent has, which means the momentum can be gained a little bit more defensively than, you know, spamming U-turn, forcing switches and stuff in this matchup. So a lot to look forward to, I think, team builder wise here. I think I've got some really cool sets that we can bring, and I think this is going to be a very, very interesting game once we actually get into the game. There's a lot of things that we can do in the builder to give ourselves the advantage, but this is one of those games where making sure we play around all of the possible, you know, setup sets my opponent can use to take advantage of my team, while also putting myself in a position to win, is going to be very, very crucial, where stuff like U-turn is not going to be as present as in this team as it usually is. So let's get right into the team builder. Alright, so we are here with the team builder. Now, you guys saw Tony's team in the clips before. It's going to be an interesting matchup, I think. There's a lot to look out for. Necrozma is the big threat. Without a Dark type, it can really run a really, really powerful setup set. In all honesty, it's going to be difficult to manage that. Weavile, being the fastest Pokemon in the matchup, gets its freedom, you know, to kind of dictate the game a little bit. You know, it checks stuff like Tornadus T very well. And then obviously threats like Melmetal can run some really interesting sets that, you know, came in one of the mock, well, the only mock that I did. But, you know, a lot to consider here. A matchup that, while my team is very momentum-based, and I want to take advantage of that against slow threats like Melmetal, we don't really have to run the, you know, the U-turn momentum stuff that we usually do. It's kind of an interesting matchup in that sense, where a lot of the answers to my opponent's Pokemon are pretty natural checks that, you know, don't really require momentum to take advantage of. So let's get into the team real quick here. And let's go over everything that is happening here. So we're going to start with the win con of the team. Weakness Policy Cinderace. This is a cast special right here. Bulk Up, Pyro Ball, High Jump Kick, and Sucker Punch. And now the reason that this set is very good is because it can set up on Gastrodon specifically. So it can bulk up on the face of Gastrodon, take a hit, and then, you know, High Jump Kick in response at +3. It takes a little bit of damage to get there. No, it needs about, you know, 15%. But Gastrodon is one of those Pokemon in the matchup that's going to naturally come in, take damage anyway. And this is a really great win con, because then Weavile can't come in and revenge kill it with the item off of it. And then you kill that, and Lego just dies to Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch, kills Necrozma. From there, it's a really, really great way to win the late game with this team. And it's still, a Pokemon that can come in and just Powerball things, deal a lot of damage, put a lot of pressure on my opponent's team. So, this is the win con for today's game. And given how the things played out, I think this is going to be a really, really good way to kind of clean up at the end on a Pokemon like Gastrodon. Now let's look at the next Pokemon here. So the next thing we have Diancie, Leftovers Diancie. I'm used to using the Iapapa berries and such. Not as big a thing in this gen as before, but definitely, still a really good Pokemon. Leftovers is fine, I think. There's no real use for another item in this matchup specifically. We have Stealth Rock, Encore, Earth Power, and Moonblast. Earth Power is there just to be able to put physical pressure on the Melmetal itself. Just, to have a way to, attack against it. One of the sets that came in a mock was Acid Armor Substitute, which used Body Press as a way to deal damage. And then this set, can kind of, answer that pretty well with Encore and then into Earth Power. So Earth Power deals some good damage to Melmetal, while Moonblast, hits the rest of the team. Encore is really important here. Now, the reason we have Encore here is we need ways to prevent Necrozma from setting up on this team. And Diancie is a really good way to just come into Necrozma every time, hit Encore, and just prevent any setup from happening. That gives me free rocks as well in the matchup. So this is a great defensive mon in its own right, as well as having the good way to get rocks up and prevent Necrozma from setting up on us. So that's basically the role it's operating in this game is let's not lose Necrozma. It's not losing the Necrozma Pokemon. Kartana, Choice Scarf today. This is basically just to clean up whatever happens at the end of the day. Just come in, hit Leaf Blade, Smart Strike a couple times. Rotom is one of the bigger threats on this team that we have to deal with. Obviously, Melmetal's on this team as well, which can wall this effectively. So those are two Pokemon that have to be removed out of the way. But knockoff Pressure from Choice Scarf, even with those still in play, is very, very good. And once those Pokemon are gone, this thing just cleans house against my opponent's team. Leaf Blade just has a field day from Choice Scarf. Kartana here. We all put all the extra EVs into defense, mainly because Ice Shard is the only thing I'm really worried about. Outspeeding this thing. If I have to take some damage, take some Stealth Rocks, come in on a hit, I want to be able to at least have a chance to live that hit, because I'm not really living anything else from my opponent's side. This is another really interesting Pokemon here. So Dracozolt is on the team, but we don't have a Powdon this week, so we're running a Volt Absorb. I'm going to make sure it's actually Volt Absorb. Volt Absorb Dracozolt, Taunt, Thunderwave, Draco Meteor, Thunderbolt. Now this is a great way to prevent Rotom from absolutely going in on my team. Rotom into Necrozma was, at the start of building, the biggest threat, I think, to my team. If they could if Tony could just Volt Switch into Volt Switch with Rotom into Necrozma every time, we're in a whole world of hurt there. The play patterns become really, really predictable on my side, and that gives Tony a lot of advantage to, be very aggressive with his switches and deal a lot of damage to my team that I could prevent realistically. Dracozolt comes in here. We don't have a Powdon to hide the Volt Absorb, so it's going to be pretty obvious what it's here for, but it prevents that play pattern from being able to, get, that Volt Switch momentum to get going on my opponent's side, and force me to, bring in Diancie in potential situations where it's not going to be good. It's going to get taken advantage of potentially by stuff like Melmetal coming in. I can't just sit there and Earth Power Melmetal in its face on, the first time of asking. So definitely a good Pokemon here that prevents stuff like that from being a problem. Draco Meteor does a lot of damage to stuff like Gastrodon coming in, and this is where I expect we'll get that, 10-15% on Gastrodon to be able to set up with the Cinderace is on the Dracozolt here. Torn T here. So Torn T is very specially attack oriented this week. Defog, 3 attacks on the heavy duty boots. No U-turn. The reason I don't have U-turn is the switch-ins for this, I don't really need to U-turn off of. Stuff like Aromatisse, it's not really a big deal. I can just go into Diancie, hit Encore, prevent anything from really happening. And you get a lot of utility out of these 3 moves. So Knockoff obviously is always going to be very, very good. Put item pressure on my opponent's team. Hurricane, stab damage, puts a lot of pressure on, all the switch-ins, stuff like Gastrodon. Potentially if it wants to be spit up switching in. If it takes a confusion, then it's in a whole world of hurt. And then Heat Wave is there to pressure Melmetal from trying to take advantage of like a U-turn knockoff Hurricane Defog set. Melmetal takes a really big advantage of that set, and Heatwave prevents that from really being a big threat in this game. And then the last Pokemon, Craig the Throw, Rocky Helmet Throw. This was a really interesting one. This is the last on the team, and I was really thinking hard about this one because there wasn't really a good, it felt like last 6 mod to put on this team. And I ended up with a Rest Talk, a Rocky Helmet Throw. And the reason I like this is that it's a 6 slot that doesn't bring in Necrozma for free. You just click Circle Throw, prevents that from really being a threat. Necrozma tries to come in, you Circle Throw, and then you deal with whatever's in front of you from there. Storm Throw is on this because it prevents stuff like Melmetal from setting up on you. We have 12 attack because you'll be surprised, but all you need is 12 attack for 252, 252 plus Melmetal to break the sub. Unbelievable that that's a thing. And the reason you use Storm Throw in specific is if stuff like Acid Armor comes, you can use the crit to break through that and keep breaking that sub and putting the pressure, then allowing something like the Tornadus T to come in Heat Wave and just get it out of the way. So that is basically the team that we're bringing today against Tony. I don't know why I'm using a potion on this team, but yeah, that's the team that we're bringing. Hope you guys enjoy the battle. I'll see you right in there. Alright, we are playing on Showdown today because I still can't figure out how to fucking work this Wi-Fi thing. So the team that Tony brought is Magmortar, Weavile. Why is there no Necrozma? Like, that was like the best game plan he had. I don't know why I'm tilted. That should be a good, that's just a good thing. That doesn't have it. So he doesn't have a Necrozma. So that means Magmortar is kind of a big threat. This team, it doesn't really change the fact that, it doesn't really change my game plan of sweeping with Cinderace. So the most likely lead here is probably Rotom or Weavile. So we can lead against that accordingly. We can lead off with Throw. I'm just going to lead off with Cinderace. I'm just going to lead off with Tornadus. I'm going to force him to lead Weavile here, and then I can go into Gastrodon. So one of the things with this matchup that is nice is that, so for Gastrodon specifically, if I get enough damage on it, then Cinderace can set up with the Weakness Policy Bulk Up and sweep his whole team. So getting damage on this is pretty important. I don't mind if I get Toxic here in this specific spot, so I'm just going to click Knock Off. I want to prevent this from just naturally getting out of range with Leftovers or something of my Cinderace. So yeah, Leftovers is gone. I take the Toxic, that's fine. This thing isn't really going to be, I guess, long for this roll anywhere. There's no Melmetal either, so that's one of the main things this Pokemon has to check as well, is that. So it's probably Scald, it's probably Toxic Recover, Scald, Earth Power is the move set I would expect. I can't really switch here. Not like effectively. He can't really Scald either. So what's an aggressive play here from my opponent is to go into something like Nihilego. And just knock again, see what he does. Oh, he has Ice Beam. Okay, that's good to know. Well, let's just go into Throw here. Yeah, and he hits Recover. So Toxic, Ice Beam, Recover. I'm really curious to see what that last move is, to see what type of set it is. I could have gotten really aggressive there and gone into Kartana, but I don't think that is a play that we necessarily have to make right now. I'm just going to Circle Throw here, just to put pressure on the team. See if I can bait out his switch into this. He's back up to 100 on this, but once again, without Leftovers. If he switches in on like a Powerball or something, he gets set up on. Okay, so he's Earth Power last move. That's good to know. Magmortar comes out. So Magmortar is heavily specially attack. We just go here and die. We just go here hard into Diancie. We can set up Stealth Rocks. Stealth Rocks along with that damage there allows me to take advantage of this with Cinderace again. So we're looking to be in a decent spot here early on. We've taken a lot of unnecessary damage, I think. The problem with this matchup is the early turns are a little awkward for my team. Cinderace does very, very well, but my team can be kind of awkward defensively in this matchup. The real question is, what punishes Diancie as a switch in here? Gastrodon probably. Rotom is the punish. I don't know if that's necessarily a punish to this. I'm not really concerned at all. I can just set up Stealth Rocks here. Silvali's probably Silvally Steel, I would imagine. thinking about this, Sivali Steel comes in on Diancie after Stealth Rocks and puts pressure on. I'm guessing this is probably just going to leave Stormy. But I have Dracozolt. Dracozolt comes in on this every time. Prevents pivot. I'm special Dracozolt actually, so this really doesn't matter at all. It's probably hype to see this come in, but now he can't Volt Switch off or pivot around this. I could have set up Stealth Rocks there, which is kind of interesting. I'm curious as to why he made that play. So probably goes into Gastron here. It probably takes a ton. So it is the Sylvali Steel. You have to drop a Draco. It takes 24%, which is fine. And now it gets the Parting Shot here. So how do we punish a Parting Shot in specific? We can just go into Throw. What is Throw Invite? Throw invited in Magmar last time. We do have Rest. And if he attacks, it's fine. This thing has Chip now. I mean, now that we know this is Steel, it's not a problem for our Cinderace. Dude, Cinderace just wins the game. Like, honestly. Like, Cinderace actually just, like, sweeps his entire team. Now that we know it is just Will-O-Wisp, it could be Willow Scarf. That's entirely possible. We still need to figure that piece out of this game. So, Parting Shot comes in. He could Weavile. I'm just going to go into Tornadus expecting the Parting Shot. We're just going to U-turn. Okay. That's fine. I'm trying to bait Weavile in here because then I can go back into Throw. I want to get some damage off on that Weavile. Okay, Gastrodon comes back in and is going to try to Ice Beam here. I really don't know what that Rotom-Mow set is. And I can't kill Megmortar from full. So I can't really go for anything here. I can't switch into Kartana. This is an interesting spot here. Interesting spot. So my options are Hurricane this, and kind of sack this off. So I don't really have a good way to switch into his attacks. Or, because he's probably going to Ice. Or I can predict an over-prediction here. Throw, I want to have some health. I think I'm kind of okay with letting Torn go here and then getting a free switch into Kartana. Did a shit ton of damage. Gonna get confused once. Easy. Winners win. This is kind of annoying because I need this to set up on... I need this particularly to set up on with Cinderace on, so... Question is, where does he switch from here? He can go into... How much did Knockoff do last time, the second time? Oh, it did literally 0. Well, I'm just going to Hurricane again. I'm going to be really low on Torn-T, but I can probably pivot a little bit. I can pivot on... What I can do here, actually, this might be interesting. I can go hard into Cinderace. I can go hard Cinderace and set up on this now. That's interesting. Okay, so he's gonna go Nihilego here. So hard Cinderace would have been a problem. That's pretty good. That's kind of cringe that happened. Okay, so the likely Beast Boost on this, I assume, is gonna be special attack. So if this is like Scarf or something, then Kartana outspeeds the Nihilego. Yeah, Kartana's a pretty good check to this, so I could sack this off. If it Beast Boost speed, we're in a little bit of a pain here. So what's the move? Rock move probably. Let me just go into Diancie and just absorb the first hit. Okay, Stealth Rocks comes out, so it's not a choice set, most likely. And now I threaten Earth Power here against this, so he can't really stay in. He really can't. It would make no sense. Oh, this thing has Flash Cannon, does it not? Oh wait, this doesn't. Why do I assume everything has Flash Cannon in this game? So what do I pressure with Earth Power here? So Earth Power is the pressure. How do I punish that? So Rotom-Mow probably comes in as a response. So I can just Moonblast to pressure that slot. I can set up Stealth Rocks as well. Stealth Rocks puts pressure on Weavile and Magmortar. They're probably boots though, so I don't know if that pressure is really going to be necessary. I could just attack the face of this. Because going into Dracosult is so free against Rotom. Okay, Gastron's gonna come in. Okay, Spit F drop. I'm gonna assume I'm faster than this. I'm pretty sure it has speed in this, don't I? Apologies for being very, very... Yeah, I'm plus 36, so I'm just gonna to Moonblast in its face. I have extra speed investment. So I'm assuming it'll be faster. Yeah, and there we go, pick up a kill. I am a little bit low energy because this is Showdown. I get a little bit more time to be like in my thoughts and really think out these turns because there's a lot going on here that's important to be mindful of. So how does this, what gets punished here? How do I get punished for being in this spot? Savali Steel comes in and U-turns. Well, problem is I can't set up with Cinderace anymore with how this game turned out. Like, that's just not an option I have. Savali Steel does come in. So the likely play is U-turn. So if I stay in predicting U-turn, what does he go into? What is like the realistic play that he goes in knowing that information? He probably expects an Earth Power and he goes into Rotom-Mow. Is that really... Am I better off just going into the throw, getting extra chip on this, baiting like Rotom-Mow or Nihilego to come out? I kind of think I am better doing that. It's a multi-attacking and critting me. That's a little unfortunate. So with the crit, that did... I should live the next one, surely. Yeah, I mean, I should live this and I can just rest up on this. That crit, yeah, this crit, I think this could be a roll, potentially. I am max, so hopefully it's a high roll. It's 39.6, so... I probably should be calcing this, but I don't know if it's in his interest even to risk this. Because if I just rest, then he's taken so much unnecessary damage on this. And that's like one of his big Kartana checks out the window. Because I can still freely click knockoff with Kartana in a lot of these spots. So he probably really does not want to risk this knowing this is Rocky Helmet. Because that also allows me to bring in... And this position allows me to bring in Tornty, and I get to defog the rocks away. U-turns! That's weird. That doesn't make sense to me as a play. I don't know why you would necessarily take more chip on this than you have to. And now I get a free rest off here. And now I'm back at the full, and now I can check the Weavile. So the reason we're Sleep Talk here is because we need to be able to prevent Weavile from trolling, basically in the late game. And then we can go into Dracosult here. Dracosult prevents... Does he want to punish Dracosult with Dracosult here? I don't think it matters. I'm just going to go hard into Dracosult. I could Sleep Talk and start like trying to do some shit, but getting Dracosult in here? No, dropping Dracos is free against this whole team. It's kind of... What's annoying about this spot is that Cinderace's set is kind of crap now. It doesn't really accomplish anything. I mean, it might live a power from Nihilego. I don't think so, though. I really don't believe that's going to happen. Nihilego's kind of low already, though. It's at 81. So if I get to bulk up on something like... I think this Magmortar is going to be tough to kill as well. So I need Diancie to be able to kill that. And Magmortar comes in. Really? Interesting. Okay, so the question is what do I want to do in the face of Magmortar? So it does have good special defense. I can just drop another Draco on this. Because I do resist it. And then the Draco continues to put pressure on his team. And if he tries to set up in my face, then I can just taunt or T-Wave in the second turn. I could lose too. Like, let's not like lose the things that we don't have to here. Okay, there really isn't one. Okay, that's fine. It has Teleport, which is kind of funny. Oh, that's Scorching Sands. Okay. Well, that took that took a lot of damage. All right, so that's another threat basically out of the way. So Scorching Sands, we can kind of go into anything here. I can go into Tornty. He's probably expecting that, to be honest. How much do I take from Scorching Sands with my Cinderace set, actually? I do... The problem is after rocks, I don't really live, so I do have to defog them away here. So I think I can sack Dracozolt here. Okay, I'll sack Dracozolt here, and now I can bring in Tornti, and I can defog these rocks away. And now this allows me now it allows Cinderace to set up a Magmortar while still being able to live any hit from the Weavile, and then it just cleans the team from here. We still don't really know what this Rotom-Mow set is, to be honest. It's kind of the one mystery of this game, like really, and that we haven't been able to kind of crack is what's going on with Rotom-Mow. This is why I almost don't want to set up. What's this set against Nihilego? So Sucker Punch is going to do half. High Jump Kick basically kills. Power Gem is a roll to kill me. I could attack here. Rotom-Mow comes in to get aggressive. That's fine. So here's the thing. So here's basically the option we have. We can sack Tornti here, and that lets us know if this is Choice Scarf or not. And we get the last bit of information I think that we realistically need this game. And if it's not, then we're kind of home free here to do almost whatever we want. If it does stay in, what do I want to attack with? Heat Wave gives me good range. I could knock again. I don't know if knocking off is going to be really good here. I'm just going to Heat Wave. Well, give me a second here to think about this. So if we sack, what do we lose a switch into? Not really anything, to be honest. Everything, yeah, we don't really lose a switch into anything here. Okay, so it is not Choice Scarf, so that's good to know. So it's just leftovers. Cinderace probably scares this thing out now. Yeah, I'm gonna bet Cinderace scares this thing out now. And I can go for... Does Pyro Ball into Sucker Punch does kill. He probably sacks this though. Okay, let me do some counts here. So knockoff doesn't really do enough damage. So Diancie can live. If it's a modest Leaf Storm, then it doesn't live. But then in that case, we get to bring in the Cinderace and go kind of ham against the rest of the team. And I can kind of bait this out with the throw. So do I just go into throw here? Throw we kind of need. So here's the thing. Moonblast allows Nihilego to come in for free. But we don't really care if he can't really go Nihilego here. He knows that is not a threat. He's potentially predicting this to be bait. Pain Split, okay. So this is just basically full defensive then. I feel like I'm throwing here. I probably should have just went Cinderace. Oh, can we turn on Wi-Fi? Yeah, sure we can. I'm just going to Moonblast again. I could predict the Nihilego to come in here and just Earth Power, but I don't know if that's going to necessarily do much at this point in time. Because it's still just Earth Power in this thing's face. I would have liked to drop here at some point. So this is going to Pain Split again. I just have to keep attacking. Okay, Thunderbolt, we take that, and now we're at 4-4 here. Okay. So what comes in here? Probably Nihilego. Thing is, with Rotom-Mow down, Kartana kind of wins here, realistically. There's not much I really have to predict with Kartana at this point. So it's just like a Stealth Rock is set. It dies to basically everything that I have left. Oh, Meteor Beam. Spadef? That's the raise? What? Okay, that's kind of confusing. I'm going to assume that my Choice Scarf Jolly Kartana will be fine to check this. I'm just going to Smart Strike because I think Smart Strike is just the safest thing to do here. I don't want to risk... I don't really have a reason to risk much else here. Because basically everything else I can switch into. Yeah, Scarf Cart basically wins this game here for me at this point. Yep, that's dead. And that's basically the biggest threat that's left on the team. Now, how much would a Mortar even take from this? That's Smart Strike at +1. Definitely not enough. So we definitely have to just go to throw. I assume Silvally Steel. It's going to take basically 0 as well. It takes a lot, actually, surprisingly. But Sacred Sword is now my win con from here with this Pokemon. Silvally Steel comes in, so we can just go straight into Craig the throw here. When we eat that, yep. So now we Sleep Talk. We might as well. Storm Throw or Circle Throw punishes basically anything that comes in here. If he tries to get aggressive, and he can't really get aggressive and go Weavile, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Could go Mortar. That doesn't make sense either. I think we do win this game with Cart. Dude, Cart's going fucking... Dude, Cart's violating teams this season. Like, high key. Cart's just having a field day with this game. Multi-attack, yep, we take that. Oh, sad. Okay. I mean, that really... that rather doesn't matter, so I don't really care. Alright, Storm Throw, we get the kill. And now we get to wake up, so we actually get to attack this turn. So Weavile can't come in and set up on me, which is big. It has to attack, which means then Cinderace gets to come in and just click Powerball. And since it's not a Choice Scarf, it's not a Choice Set, then we're good with that. Kartana can also just come in and click the Sacred Sword button. So basically anything that, any move that Tony goes for here, basically is not going to accomplish anything. Weavile does come in here, yep. And we just click Circle Throw. Let's click the 100% accurate move, actually. Let's click the accurate move. Triple Axle comes in here, yep. Oh, so this is protective pads. That makes sense. So protective pads, we just bring in Kartana and we just hit the Sacred Sword button twice. And we win the game. Good game to Tony. This was a really, really interesting game. I think I played this one really, really bad in like a lot of instances. I think I played this one horribly, all things considered, but I think my team is just, there's so much pressure on my team that kind of naturally just ends up picking a lot of these kills. Like Kartana here, the amount of pressure it can put on is just huge. So really, really good game to Tony there. That was really unfortunate how Wi-Fi has kind of fucked us last little bit, but I think that was a really well played game. And I think he brought a team I wasn't really prepared for necessarily. So it took a lot of on-the-fly thinking, but at the end of the day, we come up with the win. And that is another week in the books for the NCP. Good game to Tony. I think he played that very, very well. I'm a little disappointed in how I played. I think I could have played it a lot better. I think I took too many risks and threw away too many Pokemon, which I didn't end up getting punished for, thankfully, in the end. But definitely mistakes we don't want to make going further. Now that we're 2-0, week 3 is going to be a big week. This is kind of a turning point week for the season. 3-0 versus 2-1 are two very, very different records, you know, in terms of how the season will go from here. Really want to get that third win in a row, and that puts a lot less pressure on us the rest of the season to make playoffs. We're playing against Olivia and her Oldale Folks Home, I think is the team name next week. She's got a pretty decent stall team, so stay tuned for that. That's going to be a really interesting video, as I think that my team versus stall, in particular the type of stall that she has built, is going to be a really interesting learning experience, I think, in terms of in draft, especially with the fact that we're going to be playing on timer. Because I promise you, I will play on Wi-Fi next week and I will be on my own cart. Because if it's not, then I've completely failed at everything. But that is going to be the end of today's video. If you guys haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. I would really, really appreciate it. Been really enjoying my time here in the NCP so far and back into Wi-Fi Draft League. That's going to be it for me for today. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, have a wonderful day.